This is a great tool. I love it. It gives great detail, and when you airbrush your mask over it, it really, the texture sticks out great. And Capricorn Artist 73 just put this on his video for stencils, which I never thought of, and I've been doing stencils forever, and it looks really easy. It's probably 10 times easier than me using these things for like an hour cutting out complicated stencils. So check out his video on making 3-layer stencils and also using this to cut out some stencils. Alright, well, it's got a uniform color. You can see the back start to take on this darker color here. That's pretty much a sign that it's saturated. And make sure you know there's nothing left on it that's dry, no big patches of glue, anything like that. Now you've got a lot of time to work with this leather, so to me it's pretty much done. I like to give it a good squeeze. You're not really going to damage the leather in any way. Some of these wrinkles here that you get, and even from squeezing it and stretching it, give the mask in the end a nice texture. It gives it a nice authentic look to being leather, not something plastic. You're done with the water. And I just work right here before I start shaping it. I know that this is the face that I want, and I move to this big tool here. I know these are my cheeks, and I'm going to do this really, I think, gothy wave type mask. And the leather is a lot easier to cut once you've wet it, but you want to get the basic shape at least. Alright. Let me just go back over here. And the rule about straight up and down edges and staying to the cut in doesn't really apply to the top. You want to just, because we're going to do things like shape the leather, we're going to twist, we're going to bend in, so we're not too concerned with these edges because they're going to actually stay to the back of the mask. So ideally what this is going to end up being is a face mask, and these waves are just going to turn and turn and turn, and we're going to give it a nice black sheen, and we're going to give these wonderful colored tips, almost like a waving ocean. So one of the last things you want to do here while it's drying is take your form. I like to put it back on top here and just kind of mark out where my eyes are going to be. Nothing big, just mark off the corners, what you need to cut. And then because it's wet, it's a lot easier to get these out. And again, you can go back in here with a Dremel after it's dry and really just shape the leather and grind down any unfinished parts. So I'm not too concerned with, you know, how this is going to come out here in the end for the eyes. Plus we can do some fancy stuff. We'll go over. Alright. Now, there's a couple things we can do with this. We can put it on the face form, and I am non-conventional, so I like to staple it to the face form and allow it to dry. I lie. I am not patient for drying anything, not even art. So I like to put it on the face form. Use my handy dandy staple gun. Staple it onto the face form. And you can already see the type of shape it takes. I generally like to have the nose piece, but more times than not, I cut it off so it actually rests on the bridge of your nose. So, but I do like to keep it here just in the event of, you know, I overcut or undercut or anything like that. That's it. So I will take my handy drying tool, which is very complicated. It's a Vidal Sassoon hairdryer, and I will sit here and I'll dry the mask to a certain degree where it's very pliable and it's very shapeable. So I guess pliable and shapeable are the same thing, right? As you can see already, it's taken on a great shape, and then as this is starting to dry, it's going to really take on shape very, very easy. You can also attach different things under the mask to the face form to give yourself a brow ridge, to give yourself higher cheeks, to push in texture, because ideally what you're going to do is this tool here is really just used to, one, push the water out, and to give it a shape. So I'm going to say that's part 1 of at least the tutorial, and I'll work on part 2, and we'll start with the drying. I'll dry it to a point where it's really shapeable, and then we'll start working with the leather and get it that way. Alright, I hope you enjoyed part 1, and we've got everything shown. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2. As usual, be kind to each other, smile at yourself, smile at someone. We are all great people. Keep it safe.